Jerome Powell hour just finished, and I'm suspicious to say the least. What exactly did he announce? What exactly does this mean for the rest of the stock market? And why does it seem like there are going to be rate hikes soon and a significant balance sheet reduction? Let's talk about why AMC and GME were able to rise 10-20% respectively today. AMC hitting up $18.16 as a high, and then GME hitting up $119, finishing the day above $100. It's a good one. Let's talk about exactly why it is a good one. Make sure you guys have already slapped that like to defeat the YouTube algorithm, and make sure that you know that if you comment out which one you are, little meatball over there is going to read every single comment. All right, first things first, let's take a look at the options chain. $3 strikes as well as $50 strikes. Those are going to be the headlines for the day. Why is it that we have these continuously in the money calls at $3? We saw them even at 50 cents early as last week. $50 strike here, right? We have a roughly $647,000 worth of calls at $50 strike. So AMC heading back up to 50 is someone's future guess. Jerome Powell, central bank signals likely to raise rates in March. Stocks slide into negative territory after Powell remarks, and Fed's Powell says that the central bank will be humble and nimble. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday, that's today, signaled it is likely to raise U.S. interest rates in March and reaffirmed plans to end its bond purchases that month, as well as before launching what was characterized as a significant reduction in its asset holdings. The combined moves will complete the Fed's pivot away from the loose monetary policy that has defined the coronavirus pandemic era and toward a more urgent fight against inflation. Jerome Powell, let's move Meatball's head out of the way, speaking in a news conference after the end of a two-day policy meeting, said the U.S. central bank will be open-minded as it adjusts monetary policy to keep persistently high inflation from becoming entrenched. At this time, we haven't made any decisions about the path of policy, Powell said. I stress again that we'll be humble and nimble. The Fed chief said policymakers have quite a bit of room to raise interest rates without threatening the labor market as they remove the extraordinary support provided during the pandemic. The economy is quite different this time, Powell said. And you probably have noticed, if you followed along by hitting that subscribe button to the financial freedom journey, it was a fantastic year in 2021. Buy anything in January, and it seemed like it was the best purchase ever. So now we're back in January at the end of the month where the stocks, as well as the entire market, has seen the lowest of the lows, some exceeding its lows in January of last year. So is it the perfect time to snipe some good offers? With inflation well above 2% and a strong labor market, the committee expects it will soon be appropriate to raise the target range for the federal funds rate. The Fed's rate-setting Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, said in a unanimous statement after the end of its two-day meeting. Investors widely expect the Fed to raise its benchmark overnight interest rate from the current near-zero level at March 15 to 16 meeting. Federal funds futures have priced in another 3 rate hikes in 2022 after the March liftoff. FOMC members also agreed at this week's meeting on a set of principles for significantly reducing the size of the Fed's massive asset holdings. Officials said that they will shrink holdings primarily by limiting how much of the principal from maturing bonds it would reinvest each month. That plan would start after the liftoff in interest rates, the Fed said, without yet setting a specific date, pace, or final size. This announcement, by the way, was right at the peak of the price action. GME was just hovering right around 119. The level of resistance I put here from months of looking, it's been an anniversary already, of looking at GME is at 118.24, and that was where GME found the top of its price level today, as well as its support today at $100.21. We saw it bounce off of 101.65. So it doesn't get better than this unless you have buy and sell signals already baked into your trading platform. I'm looking at TradingView. This is the Lux algorithm. You would have been able to see a strong buy signal from AMC right before that huge rocket at $16.06, and then you would have been able to get that strong sell signal at $17.49. That said, it's not only for day traders, it's also good if you just want to be able to double check your purchase or whatever you're doing, buying options, buying cryptocurrency. It's yours, 20% off in the description down below. It's just a good product. I love talking about it. I use it. Supply chain improvements. Let's talk briefly about it. The Fed's statement, and once again, that was Lux's algorithm. The Fed's statement in moving ahead with a plan to tighten monetary policy cited solid recent job gains that continued even as the outbreak of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus pushed daily numbers to record levels. While the Fed has stopped trying to assess when inflation might ease, the statement said officials continue to expect improvements in global supply chains will ease the pace of price increases. Other risks have arisen in the weeks since the Fed's December 14th to the 15th policy meeting, with Western nations fearing a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine and investors selling off stocks. This was not mentioned in the policy statement, nor did it detract from the Fed's decision to push against inflation that has hit multi-decade highs. Supply and demand imbalances related to the pandemic and the reopening of the economy have continued to contribute to elevated levels of inflation, the Fed said, with consumer prices increasing at 7% annual rate, the highest level since the 1980s. If you guys were watching the Fed chairman talk about this, he said himself, this hurts average Americans. This hurts people who are just living on regular food, regular gas, regular prices that all depend on inflation. By the end of the day, understand that this is going to be a battle against a workforce that Fed Chairman Jerome Powell keeps saying is the strongest one it's been. People coming off of coronavirus assistance might want to go back into the workforce, and that will just make a more complete picture of what we should expect by this time next month. If you can look at the stock market, look at historical returns, and look at whether or not we have any indication that a super bubble is on the way, just understand that Mr. Grantham, the person that was talking about that bubble, had predicted it a year before the best performing year, 2021. Once again, the year of the retail investor, and we just don't know. Anyone who is trying to tell you just might be pushing their own agenda. So understand that we are going to present the facts as is, and we want to be able to give you guys the tools if you needed to understand how to survive and hedge your bets when the pandemic and the global affairs as well as the inflation rates all come together, crisscross applesauce. Once again, we were able to look at the data thanks to a couple of tools, so you guys can take a look at that down below. I also want to be able to take a look at what Ortex displays as the short interest for AMC. If I can log in at the end of this video, pay attention to the fact that we have already tracked a lot of the winners and losers of the day. LAZR, AGRI, HUT, and GME among the winners. Of course, much of the day is dedicated to the losers, which is on the bottom of the left hand of your screen. Okay, Ortex. This is New York Stock Exchange, AMC's short interest as displayed, as gathered by Ortex. Take a look at 20%. All right, so that is 104 million short interest. Doesn't look like shorts are going anywhere, and apes aren't either. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to all of you who make this show possible, the patrons on Patreon, as well as those of you on the Moon Platoon who have pressed that join button next to the subscribe button. And I will see all of you in the next video and in the money. Peace.